Today, we're working on Project Rolling Thunder, putting our supercharged street and track truck on the dyno for some engine tuning. Then we're gonna see just how much power we're making with our 4.6 Aluminator-powered Ranger. It's all today here on Trucks.
Hey guys, welcome to Trucks. Today, we're down here at DBR Performance in Spring Hill, Tennessee, getting ready to put the Ranger on the rollers and see what kind of power it makes. And we're gonna get it road ready with a custom dyno too.
DBR Performance specializes in all makes and models with a focus on improving performance. And co-owner David Branson was born to run this shop.
My dad did repairs as a kid, car repairs. He had a little import shop. And I just grew up, I loved working on stuff. I loved taking something that was broken and fixing it. And I learned that I could take something that wasn't broken and make it better. And I like that even more.
The entire staff at DBR are serious hot rodders, using a get it right the first time approach that starts from a solid foundation of fundamental skills. That and the stellar local reputation led us straight to their front door with Rolling Thunder.
When I was in college, I worked for an import shop, just doing oil changes, minor repairs, and then out of college, I worked for a shop doing custom work, and then I worked for Mercedes-Benz for a couple years, just as a service tech.
David's version of the American dream was to open up his own high-performance shop, but nobody ever told him it was going to be easy.
Me and my business partner talked about it, prayed about it, and we finally decided to open the doors, and we've been at it for a little over 4 years and built a lot of cool stuff and had a whole lot of fun doing it. So we strictly do high performance.
Projects of this caliber don't end up at your local service station, and you have to earn the trust of your customers.
I would say 80% of our customers say we want this, and they don't know how to get there, and they use us to let them get there. This is what we want, this is our budget, how do we get there?
American muscle is definitely part of what these guys do well, but as long as high performance is in the equation, DBR is up to the challenge.
But it doesn't matter. 4-cylinder, V8, V12, boost, NA, nitrous, just going fast.
Tuning and engines are not all that happens here. DBR can tackle every aspect of a build, which has definitely helped them grow their business.
Yes, we have grown pretty substantial. It was pretty fluid the first 3-4 years, and then just this last year has been huge. We're pretty busy right now. We're about 2 months out on builds.
Now, along with the shop, the retail store is very well stocked, and what's not in-house is a click away.
DBR, this is Brian. How can I help you?
Yeah, we have a showroom full of a lot of stuff that your typical weekend racer would need. Guy at the drag strip, rebuild parts for carburetors, nitrous parts, stuff like that. We have an online website that has a little over 30,000 parts on it, from anything from a Model T to any late model car, Mustang, Camaro.
Now, we asked David if their success has inspired thoughts of future growth or expansion for DBR.
Next on the list is going to be some type of expansion. More room, more square footage.
Now, when we first called David to talk with him about Rolling Thunder, it was obvious that the project was a little unusual.
That's just cool. It's weird. It's so weird, but in a really cool way. My first reaction was a Ranger with a Terminator. I just couldn't put the two together. I just pictured like a dirty Ranger with a Terminator in it, spinning tires with rust falling off. And then once I got more educated with the project, just all the work that's been put into the lengthening of it, the fenders, the suspension, super excited about being able to be a part of it. I can't wait to see it, actually on the track.
It's done.
We're ready?
We're ready.
First thing we did when we got Rolling Thunder was just do a basic check over the vehicle. Found a couple things we need to fix right away, got those kind of in order. Turn the power on. With John Lund with Lund Racing, we developed a calibration to get the thing started.
So we got a new mass airflow sensor on here. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we chose to use the BA3000 from SCT. A stock meter would max out at this level. The BA3000 allows us to calibrate the vehicle correctly, and the math tables don't max out, so they don't go into the failed tables. Once we had the thing started and running, we dialed in the idle.
Idle sounds real good.
Got the idle tuned perfectly.
Now, one of the final steps before making our dyno pull is making sure that this lab-grade lambda sensor or oxygen sensor is calibrated to the ambient air so we know we're getting good, accurate readings.
DBR even has an in-house weather station, which really helps dial in precise calibrations.
Ready to fire up?
Let's get some heat in this thing.
We're gonna start and make a pull from 2,000 to 4,000. If we like what we see, we'll go from there. If not, we'll make some changes, go from there. We kind of take baby steps. We look everything over. We look at the boost, we look at all the temperatures, we check the belts, we check the drive line to make sure everything's okay. With the help of Lund Racing, we make changes based off of what we saw, and then we make another pull, usually 2,000 to 5,000. On and on and on until we get to the rev limit of that vehicle, until it's done. So taking baby steps is a way to prevent accidents. The finished product is we have an SCT handheld that you're going to have 2 different tunes on.
All right, on a street and track tune, we're looking pretty good. Now, he's got us set up making a lot of torque on the bottom end, and our horsepower curve looks great, and it's still rising when he shuts it down. Look at our numbers. 522 horse at the rear wheels, 525 pounds of torque, 11 pounds of boost. Rock and roll. I want to drive this thing.
The potential you have is you're barely touching the surface. We're only at 11, 12 pounds of boost. That engine, you could easily run 15 to 17 on pump gas. If there's anything that I could do differently on this build, it would probably be a bigger blower, just because I like to go fast and I like stuff big and fast. So that's about it though.
All right, now on a pump gas drag tune where he added a couple of degrees of timing, this thing responded by making 550 horsepower and 540 pounds of torque. So needless to say, well, we're beyond psyched, and we're gonna have to flip a coin or arm wrestle or something to determine who gets to drive this bad boy home.
We were very pleased with how we were able to accomplish the goal for this truck. I feel like the calibration that's in it's gonna be very safe. You're gonna get a lot of fun out of it, and there's tons of room for potential.
Hey guys, welcome back to Trucks. Now you've seen us work on an EcoBoost F-150 before, but the last time we had one in the shop, well, it was about utility and service, where this one, it's about power and economy.
Now, we all know that a power programmer is a great way to get a little more seat-of-the-pants feel and more high performance out of your gas-powered vehicle. But like with my personal vehicle, I've got a programmer on it, but it locks me into premium fuel, which is more expensive. But today, we're going to show you a programmer that allows you to use the less expensive 87 octane and still get great performance gains.
This thing full yet?
No.
There's the last donut.
Thanks a lot.
Some health food inside or something.
I'll go get some granola.
Now you guys know that the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 underneath the hood of these EcoBoost F-150s get decent fuel economy while still making a fair amount of horsepower and torque. Well, Hypertech's figured out how to improve on that with their line of programmers, and this is their Max Energy tuner. This tuner can read and clear trouble codes, recalibrate for changes in tire size or rear axle ratio. You can change when the cooling fans come on and off, and you can adjust the top speed limiter. And of course, it's internet updatable. Now, as far as tuning options go, well, you can tune for 87 octane or premium fuel. And on 87 octane, on Hypertech's truck on their dyno, they showed gains of 65 horsepower and 58 pounds of torque. On the premium fuel setting, well, they showed gains of 87 horsepower and 101 pounds of torque. Not bad at all for a half-ton gas-powered truck. So we're going to take this thing over to the horsepower dyno and see what it'll do. So, like we always do, we strap this thing down to the horsepower dyno to get a baseline average of 3 runs. We ended up with 312 horsepower and 355 pound-feet of torque, which is a pretty strong showing for a stock pickup truck. Then it was time to upload Hypertech's 87 octane calibration so we can make some more runs and compare it to what we just did using the same fuel. Now the tuner downloads the stock tune and stores it, just in case you ever need to return the vehicle to stock. Then it uploads the modified 87 octane tune. The process is simple and only takes a few minutes. You just follow the prompts. Cool. Let's turn some rollers. Ready. Then we made 3 more runs at wide open throttle and in direct drive. What we ended up with was 326 horsepower and almost 359 pound-feet of torque. All right, with the 87 octane tune out of the way, let's put some 93 in this thing, see what it'll do. Cool. Now this time we're filling up with premium fuel, and for us that means 93 octane. But if you live in an area of the country where 91 octane is premium fuel, well, no big deal. This tune was based off of 91 octane as the premium. And with the higher quality fuel, along with the more aggressive tune, well, we ended up with 332 horsepower and 386 pounds of torque. Not bad.
What does that mean on the road? Well, we took an already spry-feeling brand new pickup truck and made it feel very, very responsive. You'd never know this was a 5,000-pound plus pickup on the roads, as agile as it was. And when it came time to pass, man, you flat-footed and it comes on and keeps coming on.
So it's got good just off idle throttle characteristics. You can tell it's improved over factory.
Yeah.
Press the throttle a little bit and it does something instead of thinking about it.
And you'd never know it was turbocharged because you don't hear any blow off or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, Hypertech elected to keep the factory torque management strategy mapped into the computer. This still gives you the substantial power gains and the ability to effortlessly break loose the rear wheels. But as you can see on the shift to second gear, torque management kicks in and makes sure that you've got a long and happy life with your drivetrain.
Hey guys, welcome back. Well, Project Rolling Thunder survived its maiden 20-mile voyage back from getting custom dyno tuned. And cruising down the interstate, well, the engine was running nice and cool, and at highway speeds, it was only turning about 1,800 RPM. Nice little cruise, until you put your foot into it. And then you better be holding on to its 550 horsepower. And since this truck's just about done, well, we wanted to share with you the final stats on this monster. We built this truck around a 4.6-liter dual overhead cam Aluminator engine. That's fed by a 2.3-liter Supercharger strapped to the top. Behind that sits a lightweight clutch and flywheel assembly and a 6-speed manual transmission. The rear suspension is unique to say the least. It's a beefed-up Mustang IRS. The front suspension was designed on performance trend software and then applied to the truck. Triple adjustable coilovers will allow us to dial this thing in. Some 13-inch rotors and 4-piston calipers up front ought to slow us down. Now we roll on some 3-piece true forged wheels, wrapped in some pretty sticky and pretty wide BFG G-Force KDW tires. All this adds up to just under 3,400 pounds with a low center of gravity and a respectable front rear weight bias. And finally, moving this thing down the road is a thundering 550 horses at the wheels.
Now, as bad as this truck is, believe it or not, there's room to pull more power out of this engine. A lot more. Simple things like a pulley swap, heck, even a larger displacement blower, throwing more timing at it with a higher octane fuel. But for our money, it's finally time to find the appropriate road course to really stretch this project's legs and find out what it's capable of. And I don't know about you guys, but after more than 2 years in the making, we think Project Rolling Thunder is ready. So are we. Now, if you're putting together an LS engine, well, ARP or automotive racing products have just about every bolt needed to get the job done. This is their small block LS hex head bolt kit,
and it replaces the single-use torque-to-yield fasteners that come installed from the factory. These high-quality bolts have an impressive 200,000 psi tensile strength rating and wide flanges to help distribute the clamping load. They've got all the different bolt lengths necessary and include washers and fastener assembly lube. So if you're replacing torque-to-yield fasteners, invest in ARP. Now, if you've got a late model GM truck, well, the factory instrument cluster has weak stepper motors that are known to cause inaccurate speedometers. That's the last thing you need when passing through a speed trap. The solution to that problem is a remanufactured cluster from rockauto.com. These remanufactured instrument clusters not only address the weak stepper motor issue by replacing them with stronger ones that won't fail, well, they also take the time to upgrade the lighting, making your gauges easier to see. Speaking of which, these reman clusters have a nice clean lens, not the scratched up, hazy, and dirty lens that's in your current instrument cluster. Plus, for a price of less than $160, well, it'll be cheaper than that speeding ticket you won't get due to an inaccurate speedometer. Now, if you need custom-built lightweight aluminum control arms for anything from a street rod to a built Jeep, well, check out what Rusty's Off-Road has to offer. Now, these can be built to just about any length required, and they're available in both 2-inch diameter and 1.5-inch diameter. The 2-inch versions come with an 1.25-inch shank rod end, the 1.5-inch come with 7/8 rod ends, and they both include high misalignment spacers. Now, they're drilled and tapped for left-hand and right-hand threads on either end, making adjustments easy, and their machined wrench flats make tightening down jam nuts a piece of cake. So if you need some lightweight but high-strength control arms, check out Rusty's Off-Road. Guys, thanks for watching Trucks. If you got any questions, check out PowerBlockTV.com, and we'll see you in about a week.